out of there. What a good tackle by Sean Young right at the midfield marker. Flag goes down on the play, and let's see what the call is. Maybe coming up against LaSalle, Peru. What a good hit by Sean Young, though, and a good open field tackle.
It's going to be a clip against Camilo Valley. Let's watch 43. Well, he takes. There's where it is. All right, there's Pastano still running. There's Valley coming in from behind right there. Valley, the fullback, coming in from behind and making contact.
The man who was clipped was Dave Burston, the big defensive end. That happens when you got a scramble-type situation, Mike, and people changing directions and so on. It will occasionally occur. Hit him above the waist, but from behind.
As an offensive man, you just have to be so careful to get that head and shoulders in front of the man. And as you point out, it's hard to do sometimes because of the movement that come around. That was just desire and effort on the part of Valley, but it cost him 15 yards.
Second down, 18 yards to go. The pitch to Pete Bray. Needs to turn the corner, does, to the 40. Bray down to the 44-yard line. Coming up on the stop, Mark Eisenhart, number 20, making the tackle.
Okay, Pete Bray on the run this time. Great blocking out here. Watch the blocking right there. Stacking up about 3 defenders. He can't get out of bounds, though. Can't get out of bounds to stop the clock.
They called for timeout to do it. 13 seconds to play. They want to talk it over on the sideline. 13 seconds to play first half with Wheaton North leading 7-0. Look at the scoreboard. 3rd down and 8 situation. The ball resting out around the 45-yard line. Joe Marini paces the sideline. 3rd time he's been here. He wants desperately to win a state 4A championship. He's had an outstanding record at LaSalle, Peru.
And undefeated this year. Last time they were undefeated was 1968.
Wheaton North, knowing that Pastano probably is going to go to the air with 13 seconds to play. Campbell misses him. Now he's going to have to run it. And he's using up time and cannot get out of bounds and drops as we get down to 4, 3, 2, 1. And they try to stop it. Nope, they didn't get it stopped in time. So, time runs out here in the first half with Wheaton North leading 7-0. And the makings of a similar kind of ball game that we had last night in the 3A final between Morris and Mascoutah. A 7-0 lead right now for Wheaton North as they walk off. And again, we mentioned what a big factor the wind has played in the ball game so far in the punting game. Now, let's go to Tournament Central.
Thank you, Bob. We'll have a summary for you on the first half very shortly, and that will be followed by a couple of special features we have planned for you. Our coverage from Hancock Stadium will continue after this.
Funny thing happens when you walk into an Illinois Bell phone center store.
Oh, excuse me. Top of the morning. Hello. Hello. Oh, just say it's the good witch returning his call. Oh, thank you, Munchkin.
You see phones to fit almost every personality.
Hello, Chief. Stop the presses. I got a real scoop for you.
So whether you want to be elegant, nostalgic,
1 if by land, and 2 if by sea. That's a good idea.
modern, far out, even a little outrageous, there's a genuine Bell phone that's right for you. What's more, you can save time and money by carrying the phones home yourself.
Don't mention it, sir.
Come to the Illinois Bell Phone Center store near you and choose the phone that suits your fancy.
Yes, Heathcliff. I know how you feel, but this is madness.
Sport Mart, save! Diversified Products 110-pound Olympic barbell and dumbbell set, $21.86. Schaumburg, Niles, Lombard, Calumet City, Oak Lawn. For sports, it's Sport Mart.
Coming to Channel 9, Star Trek's Menagerie. A special 2-hour WGN presentation Sunday night, December 9th at 7 o'clock.
Good football game in this 4A championship. Wheaton North leading 7-0 over LaSalle, Peru. The difference, I think, in large degree has been the wind playing havoc with the punting game. We saw Wheaton North have just as much difficulty punting into the wind as did LaSalle Peru in the first period of play. LaSalle Peru had a short punt in the first quarter toward the end of it, and Wheaton North had it deep in LaSalle Peru territory and took advantage of it. Though the end of the period came, they were down deep and wound up with a 9-yard run by Lewis Holland for the touchdown. Their point after try was good from placement, and they led 7-0. On the other hand, their defense came to the shore as Wheaton North had to punt. The ball was well deep in their territory. LaSalle Peru moved it down to the 15-yard line near first down territory, but only inches shy, and they stopped LaSalle Peru around the 15, and that made a big difference as LaSalle Peru was not able to take advantage of a short punt off the foot of the Wheaton punter, Brad Campbell. So in the second half, it's going to be much the same, and who knows, it may indeed be a punt or a kickoff or something of that nature that would have to battle this wind out here as the wind blows toward the north. That could give one club or the other the slight advantage, and who knows, an ultimate win. That's it for the summary for right now. We'll have some videotape highlights of outstanding plays for you a little later on in the halftime intermission. Our coverage of the Illinois High School Association Football Championships will continue after this.
When people realized that getting numbers from directory assistants could cost them, they started writing numbers down in all kinds of places. Write them all down in one place. Get a personal directory from Illinois Bell. Call 800-572-4572. There's no charge for the call or the directory. Also available at phone center stores.
I lost it. What, Rosie? I've lost my money-saving coupon on Bounty's new design collection. I've looked everywhere.
Boy, what great savings.
And on such gorgeous towels. 4 new designs, and each one's a knockout.
They're the prettiest towels in town.
And still the quicker picker-upper. If I can't find this coupon...
Look for this coupon in this week's paper for big savings on Bounty's new design collection.
You can feel us coming now, a fresh look on the scene, with a whole new style of living, light and crisp and clean. That's why now we say the age of 7-Up is here, because we love that crisp, refreshing taste, so light and crystal clear. Move it up, look it up. Look it up. America is turning 7-Up, reaching up, feel it up. America is turning 7-Up.
We're back in Tournament Central at the top of Hancock Stadium here in Normal, Illinois. And now it's time for a VIP interview with a special guest. Here's Bob Starr.
Here at halftime, we're going to talk it over with Liz Astroth, who's the Executive Secretary of the Illinois High School Association. First of all, Liz, thanks for coming by and take some time out of a busy schedule. I know it's a tough time of the year when you run 5 games in 2 days, but I think we'd have to say in all honesty, yesterday went like a breeze and capped off by a super football game last night in the final 3A game.
Yes, that's probably one of the finest 3A games we've had in the history of the playoffs.
The other activities coming up, and I know there's much talk all over the state, and you're very involved in it, the possibility of having to expand and go to a 6th classification, which would be a 6A.
I think that's correct, Bob. I just came from a meeting this morning with the Football Coaches Association and the member football coaches, and we were evaluating our present program, what has transpired in the past 6 years. When we inaugurated the program, we had 65 football conferences in the state of Illinois, and that dictated that we have 5 16-team brackets under our present format. With the 65 schools winning in the conferences allocated to the 5 brackets, that meant 13 teams are in each bracket, and then we could take care of what we call the non-affiliated schools with conferences, or independents, and they were called at-large teams. Well, the recognition and the enthusiasm that has been generated by the playoffs has caused schools to want to qualify by being a conference champion, and we now presently have 75 conferences, which is limiting the number of opportunities for the at-large teams. So we're considering now, and we understand because of this, that more schools are going to form conferences, and then we'll be beyond 80, which will negate the independent teams. So we'll have to consider possibly 6 classes.
because of the energy crisis, which affects everybody, not only in sports but in all phases of business, is there the possibility, because of this sort of thing, that you would have to have separate sites throughout the state that would be somewhat more convenient, I suppose, for playoffs, rather than everything coming to one central spot like we have here at Normal?
Yes, because of the energy crisis, but until we get a definitive statement on what we should do in our state office, we are exploring the possibilities that exist for us. And one of them would be, of course, to change the format, the structure, and follow it all the way through to the final games, which means we play the preliminary games at the site of one of the competing schools, the quarterfinal games at the site of one of the competing schools, and the semifinal games at one of the competing schools. Now, the next step would be, if that minimizes travel and will save energy, I think that we would have to consider playing the championship games at the site of one of the competing schools.
And there's also another danger with all of the programs you have. I think you gave me a note. You have something like 23 athletic tournaments for boys and girls of secondary schools. And this presents a problem, I guess, because there is that danger, I would assume, of perhaps having to delete a program or two.
Yes, that's one of the problems. And with this year, we went from 23 to 24 state championships. But our board has adopted a policy, and whether it's a good one or not remains to be seen. But it had energy as a background and cost inflation to the schools as a basis also. They adopted a policy that said for a school, for us to inaugurate a state tournament series, at least 15% of the schools must have that sport in competition. So we will not be adding from this time on any more new tournaments. Also, on the contrary side, they said if 10% of our schools do not have a program in a particular sport, then that program will be deleted.
Liz, we thank you for the visit. Thank you for coming by and taking time out of the busy schedule at this time of the year.
Well, we thank you for your coverage, and thank you for having us.
Liz Astroth, the Executive Secretary of the Illinois High School Association, our guest. Now back to Tournament Central.
Thank you, Bob. High school marching bands add a great deal to the thrill of seeing the games here in Normal. One of the bands has moved out onto the field, and we're going to switch down there for coverage right after this.
Alexander Graham Bell is best remembered as the man who invented the telephone. But in his own time, he was well known for a different kind of work.
Practice making the sound good.
Teaching the deaf to speak.
Good.
Illinois Bell wants to help the disabled communicate with others.
Good.
In most cases, we can make using the telephone easier for those who suffer a loss of hearing, speech, sight, or a motion disability.
Now, say good. Good. Good girl. Good girl. Wonderful.
Usually the charge for these services is minimal.
Goodbye, Danielle.
For information about special services for the disabled, call area code 312-727-4421.